Hey, welcome back to the Car Sucker. My name is Jimmy Prater. I'm a car close. That's what I do. I close and close and close. I close car deals. And you do too. You close them and gross them, right? That's what we like to do. We close them and gross them. Hey, check this out. You take companies like Carvana and say, no, you can buy all your vehicles online now, 100% virtual. You can do 100% virtual if it was a perfect world. Okay, there are ways to get around the trade, all right? But to get around the trade, you got to have a veteran salesperson on the phone. You follow what I'm saying? Now track this. I did a mystery shop, and I do these every once in a while. Mystery shop, especially the people that say it's 100% online. You can't get an answer out of anybody, especially when they want you to talk through instant messenger. I ask simple questions. Simple questions. Explain this lease to me. They can't explain the lease. Another simple question. How does your express checkout work? They can't explain it to me. They use powdered sugar questions at me. That's what they use. They say stuff like, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Ronald McDonald, okay? Elvis Presley, Jerry Maguire. I just make up names, and they still continue to go. I don't give them the accurate information. Nobody gives them accurate information. So it's not working. You need to get the phone calls back into the veterans because, see, it's time now. Time now. Time now means we want to close the car deal right now. That's all about closing the car deal. That's it. You can't tell me that Carvana is going to take over the industry. Look at the reviews online. They're horrible. None of that's working. It's about they're trying to circumvent the salesperson. It's the same reason why you got brokers out there. They're circumventing the salespeople. See, that's unfair. Salespeople have to get certified. They have to take all these tests. They got to do a dance with the manufacturer just to get their bonuses. And then a broker comes in and makes $500 quick cash. I'd stop selling to the brokers. Matter of fact, manufacturers, you should put that in the agreements, your franchise agreements with the dealers. Cannot sell to brokers. It's unfair to salespeople. And then the salespeople get dinged on the CSI. I mean, it's a problem throughout the country. The broker is not delivering the vehicle. Sometimes the salesperson will deliver it to the broker's office, in a little tiny little cubicle office somewhere he's paying $100 a month at, and they're delivering the vehicle to the broker, expecting the broker to go through all the product. That's not working. See, we got to get back to the close. None of these gimmicks are working. Carvana's not going to be around very much longer. Whose fault is it when we don't sell cars? It's the dealer's fault because we're not aggressive. We're not closing. We're soft closing. We're listening to trainers out there that is teaching fluff. They're powdered sugar trainers. They're not training how to close. Now, we got two parts in a close. We know we close the product and we have to close the figures. Now, when you close the figures, salespeople, you ever seen somebody go in and close the figures? You say, wow, that manager's smooth. That's a smooth man. Well, that manager's got a process. Even though that manager doesn't understand he or she has a process, the manager has a process. And it's called the sweet spot in the deal. It's the sweet spot in the close of the figures. It's the sweet spot. See, they don't just go walk into a close and make everybody feel uncomfortable. They walk into a close knowing everything about that deal. They walk in that close being properly introduced. And then they just tell a story. That story may be about a lease. That manager may know all the nuts and bolts of a lease. Now, if you go and you sit down and you're talking about a lease, let's say it is a lease, not a subprime deal, not a used car deal, not a conventional buying a new car. Let's talk about a lease. So let's say that manager is going in, the closer is going in to talk about the lease. That manager is going to explain the nuts and bolts of the lease to the customer because the other dealership that they were at, they weren't explaining it. Nobody explained anything about the lease to them. That manager is going to not only understand, and this is what you got to understand. See, the car sharker teaches all this stuff. Okay, the car sharker has forms so they can actually dial into the consumer. So when the consumer is buying the vehicle, they understand the lease. And they go over every little number. They understand what's taxed and what's not taxed. They understand what the depreciation is and what the residual is. There's an anticipation depreciation, and there's a residual. Now you have to explain it to the customer. Let them know that it's coming from the National Automobile Retail Value Association. I'm talking about NARVA, not NADA. It's a different company. See, a lot of you don't know that. See, and you got to know this stuff. The veterans know about it. Veterans, I know you know all about this stuff. But we need to teach this to the new people that are in the business. See, they're starting to play this mind game on these salespeople that it's okay to get flats. It's not okay. It's not okay. And if you think you're going to do 100% online, you can't do it. It just can't really be done. There's sections of it that can be done. But when you're advertising it to the consumers and they think they're going to do it, they're just shopping you for the number so they can go somewhere else and get it cheaper. And there's no used cars. No two used cars is the same, right? So they're going to want to drive it. They're going to want to test drive it. And they're going to want to pick it apart. So let's stop kidding ourselves that we're going down that path. When we don't sell cars, it's the dealership's fault. It's the store's fault. It's not the manufacturer's fault. They hinder us a lot, but it's not their fault. See, when Volvo cuts jobs, when General Motors cuts jobs and Tesla cuts jobs, it's because they're not selling cars, because everybody's buying into this powder sugar stuff. There's no powder sugar training when it comes to the car sharker. See, we want to explain the nuts and bolts of a lease so you're comfortable so you can explain it to the customer. That's the sweet spot. See, before you can present the payment or the down payment and explain the residual, because that's basically the three components that everybody's taught when they're taught powder sugar style. But I want to talk about the nuts and bolts of the lease before we get into that. You can't present the numbers. That's called the attack. You can't attack the customer yet until they know. Now, if the salesperson went in and gave them the numbers and the customer's getting up to leave because the salesperson's already closed them on the product, but they did a couple pencils, maybe 3 at the max, and then you have the other closer that goes in, well, that closer is going to explain the mechanics of the lease. Again, they have to understand what the true depreciation of the lease is and how you got to that depreciation. How is it subsidized or is it not subsidized? And get the value of why that lease is such a right deal for them because it is being subsidized. Now, if you call a car sharker and we train on this stuff, this is what we do. We train on closing. We don't care about the powder sugar stuff. If you want to pretend that all that stuff exists, please keep pretending to yourself. It's all fake. It's not real. Okay, let's get back in reality. Let's get back on earth, guys. All right? Let's start closing car deals. And you need the car sharker in there to close car deals. Okay, we need to massage these pay plans. All right, now I know that I've left a few videos out there and I pissed off some dealers because I've got some messages, but I don't care because I'm an advocate for salespeople. If you want to sell more cars, protect the salespeople. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. If I call your store and you don't want to answer a question of mine, you're losing the deal. You're losing business. I'm going somewhere else. I just want a question answered, and you can't answer a basic question. Especially some of these conglomerates that advertise, oh, we got express checkout. Buy it online. Okay, I'll try it out. Here's my real name, Jimmy Prater. Here's this. They can't answer a question. It takes so long to get anything done that way. And then if I pick up the phone and I get a veteran salesperson on the phone, that veteran salesperson already tried to close me on the phone. That's what I like. I want to be closed. I think it's rude when you don't ask for the sale. If I spent time at Best Buy, I want that clerk to say, now you're going to buy it, sir? Do you want me to go get the box out of the back? I want to be closed. Everybody wants to be closed. The people who teach us soft sell have an insecurity problem. They're insecure with themselves. They try to gloat about themselves as being like the cool guy on the block. Well, you're not. The only people that you're hurting by not teaching hardcore close is the salespeople. Again, not protecting the salespeople. The salespeople want to learn how to close. They want to do this. If you could close a damn car deal, you could close anything in the world. If you can focus on how you're going to close and close and close and close and gross and gross and gross, you're going to be happy. You're not going to be bashful. But you got to protect the salespeople. Closers, you can't replace. If you're closing on the figures and they're smooth, it's because they understand the sweet spot of the deal. Now, if there's anything in this video that you got a few tips over it, go ahead, share it and like it. Subscribe by hitting that little Sharky icon at the bottom of your screen. Subscribe. Hit that little bell button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Now, my name is Jimmy Prater. Do yourself a favor. Go close something. Yeah!